Gotta be honest, I did not expect this to be the first head coach firing of the season, and I also gotta be honest in the fact that I have no clue what's going on. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gare, and I'm representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about this team behind me right here at the top, the New York Jets, because 48 hours ago, they fired their head coach, Robert Saleh, and replaced him with defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. Now, I already did a live stream on this. I did an emergency live stream on the main channel. I will leave a link to that in the description down below, so you can go check that out, and you can check the link to the upper right corner as well, or the card up the right corner, I should say. That's just my thoughts as it happened in real time. Now I've had 48 hours to digest the news, and I just want to break down what the heck happened, my thoughts on everything, if anything's changed since that live stream in the 48-hour stretch. And to be honest, no, nothing has changed. Now, I want to get this out of the way first. Robert Saleh was not a good head coach. Let's get that out of the way right now. I'm not sure he even deserved a fourth year in the NFL. Most coaches, when you don't make the playoffs your first 3 years, you do not get that fourth year. And Robert Saleh got the fourth year. They were playing below expectations. And 20-36, the record speaks for itself. And they're below 500. 2 straight losses, 2 bad losses, I should say, to the Broncos and the Vikings. I think owner Woody Johnson thought to himself, okay, we're going to give him another year because last year was a bogey year because Aaron Rodgers was hurt. But now that they're not playing well with Rodgers in there, it's time to make the switch. So again, Robert Saleh, not a good head coach. Having said that, he got hosed. Having said that, he got royally hosed here, and I don't understand this firing in the slightest bit. I really don't. Number one, Jeff Ulbrich getting promoted to the head coaching job. Now, obviously, Jeff Ulbrich has done a very good job with that defense. I think that goes without saying. He's been the defense coordinator there since 2021. The Jets have usually had one of the better defenses in football since he took over. You saw last year, the only reason they were in games last year because of how bad their quarterback situation was, I mean, they were starting Tim Boyle in games for crying out loud, was because of their defense. This year, their defense was 5th in the league in a lot of categories, top 5. It was a pretty good defense, but promoting him to the head coaching role right now, he's got no experience at head coach. Usually, when you promote a coach to the interim position, you want it to be a guy that at least knows what he's doing as a head coach. You want it to be a guy that can right the ship, that has been in that role before, that knows the responsibilities of what being a head coach entails, and that won't rock the boat too much. So, as an example, if the Jaguars were to fire Doug Peterson, they have Mike McCoy on the roster. He's been a head coach before with the Chargers. You can promote him to head coach, keep the offensive coordinator, so that stays in place, keep the defensive coordinator, that stays in place. You promote Mike McCoy, nothing really changes. A lot is changing now. A lot is changing with Jeff Ulbrich as the head coach because, again, he has no experience at that position. He has never been a head coach. He has never even been interviewed for a head coaching position before. The only time he's ever been a head coach was the week of the Senior Bowl. That doesn't really count for anything. But high school, college, NFL, the man has never been a head coach. So he's going in cold without a bye week. That's the other thing. He is going in cold without a bye week. The Jets play in a few days against the Buffalo Bills. The Jets play. So Jeff Ulbrich has no time whatsoever to get acclimated and get adjusted to this head coaching position of his. He has no time whatsoever. And if you were going to do it, why not do it on Monday instead of Tuesday? Why waste a day? Time is of the essence. When you have a new head coach that has never had a position before, why do it on Tuesday instead of Monday? That's the other part that made no sense to me. But here's the thing with Jeff Ulbrich as well. I'm not saying he could be a bad head coach. Obviously, he knew what he was doing as defensive coordinator. Now you're messing up the one thing that was good for you. You're messing up the one thing. Your defense was really good. Your defense was a top 5 defense in football. Now you promote the defensive coordinator who has never been a head coach before. You promote him in the middle of the season with no bye week, and he has never done it before, mind you, to the head coaching position, and he's going to call the defense as well. He's going to call the defense at the same time he's head coaching. So he's got 2 responsibilities now, and he's never done one of those before. So you're putting double the workload on his plate. He's still going to run the defense, still going to manage the defense while being a head coach. That's a lot for a guy to handle. I'm not sure he can handle all that. I feel like if you do that, your defense is going to take a hit. Because obviously, if you're trying to do 2 things at once, it's not going to go well for you if you've never done one of those things before, because you can't devote your entire attention to the defense. You have to devote your entire attention to the entire team, or you have to devote at least part of your attention to the entire team. That's what a head coach does. You have to be thinking about a lot more stuff if you're a head coach than a defensive coordinator. I don't know, this way in the season, in the middle of the season, this is going to mess stuff up with the defense, and if this is changing the one thing that actually could work with this team. It's almost like me saying, it's almost like if I'm golfing. Let's say I'm golfing, and my driver is terrible, but I have a good 7-iron stroke. I have a very good 7-iron stroke, but my driver is terrible. So I decide off the tee from this point on, I am going to use my 7-iron off the tee. But I have a different swing off the tee versus on the playing surface, on the regular playing surface. So now I could be messing up my 7-iron swing for the rest of it because I have a different swing off the tee versus on the regular playing surface. So I feel like you could have a situation like that with Jeff Ulbrich. Again, that's not the best comparison, but you get the idea of why I have my concerns about that he's going to be calling the defense doing double duty. I'm not sure he can devote the attention to the defense that he needs when, again, the defense is the one thing that is actually going well for him. On top of that, this firing just seems like a panic move. Again, I do not think Robert Saleh is a good head coach whatsoever, not in the slightest bit, but this move is a panic move 5 games into the season. Let's just break it down. There have been a lot of firings in the history of the NFL, a lot of midseason firings. No team has ever made the playoffs in the Super Bowl era. No team has ever made the postseason with a losing record after firing their head coach. No team. It has never happened before. The Jets, as bad as they've been this year, they're only half a game out of first place. No team has ever made the playoffs firing their coach in the middle of the season when they've had a losing record. Only one team has made the playoffs after firing their head coach in the middle of the season, period. And that team was the Raiders in 2021 when John Gruden got fired after a 3-2 start and was replaced by Rick Bisaccia. But again, John Gruden, he kind of had to go. That one, their hands were kind of tied after the emails came out. That was kind of out of the Raiders' control. So, bit of an asterisk next to that one. And the Raiders had a winning record at the time. The Jets, 2-3, you're switching coaches mid-season with no bye week, with a guy that has never been in that position before, that could destroy the defensive chemistry right now, because a guy doing double duty when he has never been a head coach before, I just don't know how it's going to go. And I think what this really says is how the Jets view Nathaniel Hackett, because Hackett has been a head coach before. You could easily promote Hackett to the head coaching spot. Todd Downing has been an offensive coordinator before the Tennessee Titans. He was absolute crap with that job. You can promote him an OC, promote Hackett to the head coaching job, and you could do that, but Hackett's doing nothing now. Todd Downing is calling the plays on offense. Hackett did not get promoted. I don't even know what Hackett does anymore. I don't even know what Hackett does. That's how bad his head coaching stint was. That's how bad he's been with the Jets. I don't know what Nathaniel Hackett does with this team, period. This whole situation is just a giant mess that reeks of incompetence. And the fact that Woody Johnson afterwards told his son Reddick to come down to the facility because they'll give him an escort and we'll roll with the red carpet for you and everything. But that's insane. Like, read the room, man. Read the room. This is just a horrible, horrible situation. Again, none of my thoughts have really changed that much since the live stream that I did 48 hours ago when I went live on Tuesday. The only thing we know now is that Todd Downing is calling the plays, not Nathaniel Hackett. So if you want to see the live stream again, it's in the description. I already linked it in the upper right corner. And again, I'm not saying that Robert Saleh was a good head coach. He made a lot of really questionable decisions with the clock. His record speaks for itself. I did a few dumb decisions videos on him. You can check out one of the ones he did on Sunday Night Football last year against the Raiders, some atrocious clock management that ended up costing us team the game. I will leave a link to that in the upper right corner and a link in the description down below. So, not saying it was a good head coach, but he did get hosed here, and the whole process doesn't really seem to make a ton of sense at all. This firing came out of nowhere. No one saw it coming, and I don't think this is going to work out for the Jets the way they think it will. I really don't think tinkering with the defense by having a guy do double duty when he's never been head coach before, I don't think making this abrupt change right now is going to make too much of a difference, but we'll have to wait and see. The Jets are always interesting, folks. The New York Jets always make things interesting, even if it's not the way the Jets fans necessarily want. But what are your thoughts on the Robert Saleh firing 48 hours after and Jeff Ulbrich getting promoted to the head coaching job? Do you like the move? Do you not like the move? Would you have done things differently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check my main channel, JaguarGator9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is JaguarGator9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.